Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me for this morning's coffee break, the fifth in the series. This particular coffee break is entitled Introducing Spindle Document Delivery with Digital Signatures. So this is the fifth of our series of coffee break webinars, always on the third Thursday of each month at 10:30. So please sit back and enjoy your coffee break. Before I start, just three general notices. If I could ask you to check that your microphones, if you have them on your PC or laptop, have been muted, that would stop any background noise. This webinar will last for just over 20 minutes today, so there will be no time for questions, but you will be given my contact details at the end, and you'll also be given details of a follow-up workshop that we should be holding here in Cambridge next month. Finally, the webinar is being recorded and will be available from next week on our website and on YouTube. So, at long last, are we heading towards the paperless? Ever since the 70s and the early 80s, when we were producing reports on piano rule paper, there's always been this aspiration to get rid of all this paper and have some idea of a paperless environment. But there are signs today that this may be changing. There are increasing pressures on the current system. First class post, assuming that it's less than 100 grams, now costs 60p, and second class 50p. And even if you're using franked mail, it's 44p and 31p an item. If you trade overseas and send documents overseas, then that takes a minimum of 3 to 7 days and costs anywhere between 87p and £3.30 to send a document and backup papers. Even in the UK, the reliability of next day first-class mail is often suspect, and there's always that threat of industrial action. And last but not least, the days of the professional filing clerk are almost over. So one either lets it pile up or does it as an afterthought at the end of the day, when there's probably better things to do. But today there are heightened commercial pressures to get contracts and invoices out and payments in. The recession and difficult trading conditions have created additional pressures on the business, shorter sales cycles and pressure to meet targets, and the need to get contracts out and the orders in, and then the invoices out and the cash in, all pushing towards moving paper or getting rid of paper altogether. And along with that, one good thing about the recession is that it has made people look at their processes and question both processes and people about what they're doing and what is being achieved. And this has been picked up to a large extent over the years by HMRC and the other audit agencies and tax authorities across Europe in particular, where electronic documents are becoming increasingly acceptable. Although that said, there are some provisos now beginning to creep in, but more about that later. And last but not least, or not quite last, but customer service is an increasingly key KPI. The idea is that customer service is another battlefield in the business development. The idea of having financial documents available outside of the core ERP system for people in the organization to refer to, so helping customers answer queries and being more knowledgeable about what is going on. And last but not least, green corporate credentials. The carbon footprint is becoming a further measure of progress and or success. Increasing awareness of how many trees go into a ream of A4 or vice versa, and how much it costs in terms of CO2 to actually deliver the mail. So I'd like to talk just briefly about some of the capabilities of Spindle to put it into context. It is, in essence, an intelligent Windows printer driver. It works with virtually any application, not only NAV and CRM, and is designed to help businesses create the right impression, improve document security, and save time and money. With its own built-in HTML editor, we can use Spindle for a more professional look, allowing company logos and branding to be added to all NAV and CRM documents. Users can print onto plain paper, so there's no need for expensive pre-printed stationery, and documents can include barcodes, up to 40 schemas being available as standard. And this flexible functionality of Spindle and the intelligence of Spindle allows for the creation and mailing of promotional offers and seasonal messages, as well as the more routine T's and C's or contract details that might be attached to a purchase order or sales invoice. By default, Spindle will allow you to print and post, but additionally then the functionality is there for email or fax documents to go directly from Microsoft Dynamics, NAV and CRM. And it is worth pointing out that Spindle is just as much at home with CRM as it is with NAV. Once those documents have created, once the PDFs have been created, then they can be archived either to file server or to SharePoint. And in addition to that, for those with NAV and CRM, copy documents can be sent by NAV across to CRM and filed against the customer file in CRM. And this could be particularly important in an account management role within an organization. And last but not least, with our PDF documents, we can now incorporate digital signatures. And the use of digital signatures ensures the security of documents in accordance with increasing legislation in the majority of the EU countries. The move from mail to email, from print to paperless, from filing to electronic storage means that it is very often impossible to use traditional handwritten signatures today. In fact, many of the advantages of using electronic systems fail because at some point a physical signature is still required. There are a number of digital signature formats, basically hardware and software. The format that we're proposing with Spindle comprises of 3 elements. First of all, there is a digital signature. There is a process where individuals and companies need to be verified, and a digital signature can be issued in either a department's name within a company or with an individual's name within a company. The individual or the department will then have a USB token which they will need in their PC or laptop to be present when they authorize and verify any documents. And last but not least, as the documents are being created, so the individuals within the department or on their own will need to key in their own PIN number. The point is, at the end of the day, the combination of these 3 elements enables a person to securely replace their handwritten signature with a digital one. There are 2 kinds of signatures. The first is a certified signature, which enables the document to be locked with no further changes allowed. The other type is one where you can allow for changes for approval signatures and annotations. And this might come into play where you have a workflow around expense claims, where you as an individual might sign off your expenses, create a PDF, certify it, but allow for approval signatures from, for example, your manager, and that in turn, when he or she has signed it, will be passed on to the accounts department for payable. What does a digital signature look like? Well, here's a copy of a sales invoice certified by Tom Bevan of Dracer, based on a certificate issued by Global Sign. And on the right hand side you can see a signature panel, which if we click on it takes you through to show you all the detail. So Tom has said that no changes are allowed to this document. It has been validated, and Tom's authority and certification details are shown below, including the date and time when this document was last looked at. So anybody receiving this sales invoice can be absolutely sure that it is an authentic document. There are many benefits of digital signatures, and I'll quickly go through some of the issues that handwritten signatures can provide in an organization. Because even in a paperless office, if you need handwritten signatures, you've got to print paper to sign. Worse than that, perhaps, physical signatures can be copied or forged, and perhaps even worse than that again, many organizations have in their file servers copies of signatures of senior employees that can be copied onto documents if required. As with any handwritten signature, it's always difficult to determine the date and the time the document was signed. In the case of a contract, this may be of crucial importance. And documents, even when they are printed and signed, do then need to be scanned again and electronically stored. And one might not think about it, but to sign a handwritten document, you actually need to be in the office. Either that, or you have to have the documents mailed to you, and that all wastes time and takes time. Digital signatures, if you've got your laptop, you can just pick up your documents from your email, sign them there, and move them on. Also with documents that have a handwritten signature, it's difficult to know if they've been changed, and they are particularly time-consuming things to have around when you want to send them out to multiple people. In fact, the only benefit I can begin to think of using a handwritten signature is perhaps for a photo call opportunity in front of the TV cameras, say David Cameron and Alex Salmon signing, exchanging contracts with regard to Scottish devolution. But somehow I bet there's a digital version in the background. So is this an investment worth making? This is a screenshot from the Spindle website, and I'll give you the details for that site later. Here we're proposing to move from 90% post and 10% electronic mail to, say, 25% post and 75% electronic. We're assuming just over 1,000 documents a month, and assuming postage costs £1.15 in terms of stationery, printing, postage, and man-hours. And here, if we look at this scenario, even allowing for some limited cost in terms of fax, the annual costs here reduced by not just over £9,000 a year. And then we have to obviously bear in mind the cost of Spindle itself, but one can clearly see from the outset that there are significant savings to be made. As with all of my coffee breaks, I'm going to take the opportunity to show you a little bit of Spindle and in action. And for today's coffee break, we're going to show you NAV 2009 Classic. I'm choosing Classic primarily because I recognize most of the people watching this will be using the Classic environment still. But obviously all of this will move with you as you move into the role-tailored environment. So here I am in my NAV 2009 Classic environment. I'm going into my sales and marketing order process to look for my documents and for my sales invoices. And I'm going to print off for my sell to customers numbers 10,000 to 30,000. And if I just very quickly preview this document, what you will see is that it looks very much like a standard NAV type document, except that behind the scenes it's got these hashtags which are used by Spindle to put either the additional information or the logos or whatever. Taking a step back, and actually printing it properly, we go straight to Spindle Pro Auto, which knows what I want to do with each document and also knows how each customer wishes to receive their documents. I click on OK at this point, and the document functionality will start to kick in. So this is the working screen as it processes through all the documents from Nav. And if I go into my Outlook, so we'll see in my drafts folder all these invoice documents coming up. Now, not only do the invoice documents come up, but in this particular scenario, we've made arrangements so that the sales representative for these particular companies become aware of the documents that have been produced. So if I look at John Haddock Insurance Company, this is where we can see our HTML created email. So this is the front cover. It's distinctive. It provides a different look, should we say, for emails. And outlining what the invoice is, and indeed attaching, as you would expect, the invoice to that, which I'll now open. So this is a standard look feel where we've got the template there in the background, very distinctive look to the document, and then below the document itself we have the terms and conditions of sale, which we've automatically incorporated into this particular document. And additionally, we could have information about any special promotions or our Christmas opening hours or being closed for stock take, things like that. So there's all kinds of messaging that can go out to this. What we've also done, just to show you the functionality, is attach a sample invoice automatically. This is a digitally signed invoice. This is one that was done earlier, and this is the one I showed you the copy of before. So this is just another version of the report, and across the top here you can see the ribbon bar and who's signed it, and if I click on the signature panel, then I can see all the verification details that go with that. So the sales representative gets a copy of document 2. So, dear Peter Sado, well done, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't actually get a copy of the document. In this scenario, he got it when the purchase order came in. But he will be aware now that that invoice has gone out and been sent to the customer. Moving back to our NAV environment, we can then do a similar sort of operation in with our statements. So documents, customer statement, 10,000 to 40,000. We've got a date range there, and I can just quickly go straight to print and OK. And I can look at my email, which I'll start to see documents coming through. Just open the Canon group while we're here. And again, we've got the HTML front end to the email. We've also built into it a little aging system. And if I open up the statement here, then what we can see is that there are, amongst other things, 3 invoices that are open. So there's one there, there's one there, there's one here. And you'll also very dramatically, I guess, see that this overlay has been put on to remind the customer that some of this document is overdue. So those 3 invoices being overdue, in this particular scenario, we've attached copies of those 3 invoices for the accounts payable people at the Canon Group. In addition to the customer getting a copy of the statement, so indeed does the sales representative. So all the information is passed on. Everybody in the team knows what the situation is. And in my case too, the documents are being archived. So if I just very, very quickly open up my archive here, I can see the statements that have gone out, and this is the one that we've just generated. Obviously that could be in SharePoint also, or it could have been passed, or it could have been passed across to CRM. So moving back to my slideshow, let's just think about the key benefits of using Spindle Professional. It is proven and reliable software. It's intelligent, it's pre-programmed to fax, email, print, and or store documents automatically for instant retrieval wherever it's needed and whenever it's needed. And archiving can be either to the file server, to SharePoint, or to CRM, and indeed to any combination of those. Spindle is about reducing costs and saving money. Plain paper instead of pre-printed stationery, removing postage costs, removing the need for physical filing, so no filing clerks and existing resources can be better used. It's about enhancing and promoting the company's image, creating a more professional look with company logos and branding on all documents, and it's flexible, allowing terms and conditions or seasonal promotional messages to be automatically added. And the environment is important too. Saving trees, reducing CO2 emissions of postal delivery, and saving polluting inks, cartridges, and paper waste. And it's also about improving document security and compliance. It's about incorporating digital signatures, because placing an individual signature on every document that is produced can reassure customers, tax and regulatory authorities that invoices and other important documents are indeed authentic. So to finish, I've got a number of key questions for you to think about and to take away. Have you worked out how much you spend on posting your documents? So the cost of the postage, the cost of the paper, the cost of the printing, and the actual time involved in putting all of this together and sending it out. Have you thought about staff stuffing envelopes? What a mind-numbingly boring job it is, and also just what those staff could be doing that might be more productive. And how are your marketing team using to get business information and messages to your customers and to your suppliers? This is another avenue that they may wish to explore. So would it help to include additional documents with outgoing mail? Terms and conditions immediately come to mind, but also the idea of promotional mail announcing either closures for Christmas or for stock take or special promotions and anything else. The opportunities there are endless. And obviously, with having something electronic such as Spindle, we can keep instantly updating our stationery. And how would that always help to keep a fresh look in all of your documentation? Are you concerned about your carbon footprint? Most companies are, and if they take the time just to sit back and think about it a little bit, there are lots of things that can be done to help that situation. And how useful would it be if you have CRM to throw invoices and statements across into CRM so that your salespeople, if they use CRM, can have all the documentation in that place without having to revert necessarily either to SharePoint or to a file server? And how would it help your business if the right people were kept up to date automatically. So you've seen examples in my presentation of the sales reps being informed at all stages about all the documentation going out. So they know what's gone out, they know what's overdue, and they can be part of the team and part of the provision of the customer service. And do we treat different types of customers and suppliers exactly the same? One of the things that we can do with Spindle is we can use our dimensions capability to categorize customers differently. So we can send different customers, different types of attachment, different T's and C's, different logos or promotions as applicable to their particular business. And how does legislation affect your business processes abroad? Increasingly, we're seeing tax authorities begin cracking down on PDF documents on their own. Increasingly, they are looking at only accepting for VAT purposes documents that have been sent with a digital signature or sent using EDI. And could identity theft and document fraud affect your company and its relationships? A classic example might be, and we see it in the Cronus example, where the bank details are all put on the invoice itself. Without the verification of digital signatures, could those bank details be changed? Something to think about. So thank you for your time. We've slightly gone over the 20 minutes and I apologize for that. But if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, john.gardner@cosl.co.uk. I'll be delighted to hear from you and I can promise that I will respond to any questions you may have. For more information, please go to the Dracer website, www.dracer.com, and then follow the links there to Spindle. Finally, if you'd like to join our Spindle Digital Signatures workshop, we're going to hold that here in Cambridge on Wednesday the 14th of November between 10 o'clock and 12:30. There is no charge for this event and we will have a buffet lunch at the end. Representatives from Dracer and Spindle will be with us that day, and so we'll have the opportunity to talk all these things through. Our next coffee break will be the third Thursday of the month, so third Thursday of November. That's the 15th of November at 10:30, where I shall be introducing SharePoint. So with that, I thank you all very, very much for your time. It's been most enjoyable having you with me today to talk about these exciting new opportunities. And again, if you have any questions for me at all, please email me, john.gardner@cosl.co.uk. Thank you for your time and goodbye.